Hey there! Bob from Oregon's Constant Gardener. Welcome to the OCGFAM show to you, my YouTube buddies. What's going on? Let me know in the comments. We'll talk about it after the show. Right now, let's just get into the show. The other day, I was walking past the fence here, and I saw my neighbor's blueberries creeping over, and it made me think, didn't we do an episode, a question about blueberries and other acid-loving type or supposedly acid-loving plants? And I found the clip, and I'm going to show it to you. If you're growing blueberries or any of that kind of stuff where people is like, you need a low pH in your soil for this, not necessarily the case. And I think this is interesting. May not exactly apply to what we usually do, but I think you might find it interesting. I'd like you to watch it. I'll talk to you after.
Hey Bob, this is from Runboy7426, long-time question asker. Hey Bob, on the theme of non-cannabis plants, could Scott talk about using nectar for plants that require low pH, blueberries, miracle fruit, etc.? When the normal method is to keep pH in the sixes, would nectar still be available if applied at a very low pH? What say you, low pH plants?
Oh yeah, yep. Just don't pH it up.
So,
Well, and I think the biggest misnomer on a lot of acid-loving plants is the fact that where they were trialed had very alkaline soils. So they're like, oh, it needs acids because it doesn't like pH of 8. Oh yeah, so neutral would be good. But saying it's acidic-loving, not many of them like super acidic soils. They like organic acids in their stuff. So usually like Gaia with at about a 5.9 or a 6.0 even, and even Gaia, Herc, basically just don't add a ton of Olympus, but they're going to love the calcium in the Herc. They're going to love the calcium in Demeters because they're sucking it up with the other forms of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and they don't eat nearly as aggressive as cannabis, so it's not like you have to sit there and really focus that hard on the pH of the soil regularly.
I mean, if you're going to have your calcium available, you're still going to need to be in that 6, right? And would you say that you'd...
Well, there's still some available even at the 6.0 range. It's just not as much as cannabis needs to produce flower oil.
To just mainline it.
Yeah, plant to plant. I mean, if you really want the best dang blueberries, throw down granulated bone meal, put a bunch of that down in your root zone, and then feed everything at about a 5.8 to 6.1 with Gaia and Zeus and Herc, and you'll be just baffled about the flavors.
So if they love, would they love the Zeus and those kind of humic type things? If they're
but you only need a teaspoon of that.
So much of that,
It's not really going to affect much in your pH.
And just because they're from somewhere doesn't mean they love that. It just means that's maybe it doesn't.
Well, it's like rhododendrons. That's the biggest misnomers. I can throw down limestone, bone meal, and feather meal on my rhodies, and they bloom like crazy, and they're acid-loving plants. But I'm at a pH of 7.1 in my soil.
Well, my neighbor's got a line of palm trees, and they're like, those will die. The gardener guy is like, they're gonna die, but they've been there for 6 years.
They're acclimated. It's just acclimation, but it's really where they test the college trials are usually in areas, and then they base the entire plant's needs and wants off of the base soil that comes out of that region. So if you're growing rhodies in Maine, your soil's probably an 8, so they like acidic soils.
Sure.
Yeah, 6.8. That's acidic. So anything below 7 is acid, and everything above 7 is alkaline, 7 being neutral. So when they say, blueberries like acidic soils, they really mean like 6.2, 6.1, not like 4. And a lot of people aim for 4. You don't need to go that low. As long as you have, I think one of my favorite blueberry top dressings is a grape pumice meal. And it's basically grape skins they crush for wine. And those grape skins get dried, you throw that in the soil, those slow acids, the organic acids slowly leach into the soil, but the plants consume it before the pH drops out of suspension. If you start growing blueberries, and I know like a few of my friends are growing large scale, and you were driving it to the 5 pH, if you ever want to rotate a crop in there, you're going to have to put so much limestone down just to get that back into range where any other plant's going to want to eat. So don't focus on the soil slurry pH of a blueberry, but more trying to feed it the organic acids at a 5.96 range.
Okay, so a little lower, but not insane.
You don't have to drop it to 4.
Okay, what's a miracle fruit?
It's a type of fruit. You'd have to Google it. I don't know how to describe it. It's like star fruit.
All right. Okay. All right. It's a weird little fruit.
Okay, what do you think of that? Informative, entertaining, helpful, agree, disagree, questions, comments? Would you like more content around other stuff that's not the cannabis, or get back into that? Let me know what you're thinking. Also, getting some viewer questions ready. anything you want to talk about, get in the comments and we'll talk about that and be putting together an episode to talk with Scott about. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. The OCG Fam Show. It's pretty good. It happens every day. It's the OCG Fam Show. See you tomorrow.